What's going on, everybody? I'm Scott Molchan with the Million Dollar Landscaper. I'm joined by Ryan Rebar of Busy Busy. And today we are going to be talking about company culture, why tech is so important when hiring, because we're all trying to find employees right now and it can be so difficult. So, we're going to give you some tips and tricks that kind of help you along the way. We're also going to be talking about um, understanding your labor rates and why it's so important to make sure you're looking at your jobs that you've done so you can adjust for future work. So, welcome, Ryan. Thanks for being on the show today.
Hey, thanks, Scott. Excited to be here.
Yeah, it's awesome. So, if you recognize Ryan, he has cut his hair a little bit. So,
I
I didn't
did.
recognize him at first when I first saw him, but
Yeah, it took a couple inches off.
yeah, no, looking good, looking good. But Ryan's been on the past, and he's works for Busy Busy, which is really the number one time tracking app out there right now in the market, right, Ryan?
Yeah, yep. If you're a landscaping company, this is the app you need to help track your time and your equipment. Absolutely.
Yeah, so I'm excited. They are actually sponsors of the Million Dollar Landscaper podcast, so thank you for that. I really appreciate it. But no,
Absolutely.
today we wanted to dive in and we'll start talking about company culture and the use of tech in your landscape business. Um, I honestly feel the business itself is kind of behind in times as far as tech. It's starting to catch up here recently. What's your thoughts on that? Have you seen anything like that?
Yeah, I have. And so when you look at whether it's landscape or even if you lump landscape in with construction in general, uh, we're behind on adopting technology. So you look at like efficiency improvements of like manufacturing over the last 100 years, and they've improved efficiency by 700%, and that's all through the adopting of technology and automating different things inside of the business. And we're behind in construction, we're behind in landscape, but we're quickly catching up. It's a really hot space. I mean, they call it contech now.
Okay.
But yeah, it is. It's something that's catching the attention of a lot of people at this point.
Yeah, it's definitely needed in the business, and like you said, other manufacturing companies and all these other industries are using it. Why aren't we? There's so much to take advantage of there, um, I highly encourage people to start looking at. There's tons of different softwares out there, like Busy Busy, but things that can help you improve your business. And the other thing of having something in tech is it's actually going to draw in some other possible employees for you because the younger generation has grown up using phones and all this tech. Why not incorporate it and use it?
Absolutely, and it's funny you mentioned that because I talked to a company, and it's been a couple months now, but it was the owner of the company, and we had talked to him about using Busy Busy a few years ago, and he said no because he was afraid that his employees wouldn't use it, and so he decided not to go with it. He decided to stay with the paper time card, and then his one of his star employees, one of the guys that worked with him for a couple of years, decided to leave, go start his own business, and they still had a really good relationship. And this guy came back to the original owner and he said, "Hey, you've got to try this app." And it was Busy Busy. He said, "I'm using it, makes my life way easier. I don't have to chase down paper time cards for my guys. It makes payroll easier." And he was just like, "You got to be kidding me! I didn't do it because this is the guy I didn't think would use the app."
Mhm.
And so he immediately called us up and was like, "Yeah, like let's get this done." I don't know what I was thinking. Where it's a conversation we hear a lot of is employees want that automation or that tech to make their lives easier, and especially and I know you did a podcast recently with Isaac, our CEO, and I know something he talks about a lot is that star employees want to be able to show you what they did. They want to be able to show their production because they want to stand out. And
Mhm.
so it really improves that company culture to be able to say, like, they don't want to just mix in with everybody else. They want to show what they're doing every day.
Absolutely. And I can just say from personal experience, having just done the paper sheets for decades,
Yeah.
having something like this makes it so much easier. Because I would come back at the end of the day and have to figure out how many man hours are on the job, what
Yep.
equipment you use, and kind of do the job costing. And it was a nightmare. It was kind of a pain in the butt. And that's why a lot of landscapers don't do it. But if you can automate it with some kind of tech, that that's that's awesome. It's amazing. And like you said,
Yeah.
then the star employees can kind of show off, like, look, look what we did today. And it's it's a great way to use this.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny because we do one of the most referred ways we have companies come to us is through employees changing jobs as well. So it is they'll be using busy at another job, they'll move jobs and they're still on a paper time card or using some other software that maybe not is, may not be landscape specific or construction specific, and they'll go, hey, you guys should really check this out. And then that's how we start the conversation with those guys as well, where it's this interesting um, push and pull of of being concerned about, well, what's tech going to do to my business, while on the other side having employees saying, no, we want this type of accountability, we want this type of ease for us, because who wants to worry about writing down a paper time card and losing it and then having
Mhm.
to figure out what their time was for that week.
Absolutely. Have you noticed that with more so the younger generation of coming in, that they are the ones that kind of using this type of program, whether it's this one or any of them actually, that they're encouraging and pushing it, and even like helping encourage the older generation to use it?
Yes, we do see that on occasion, where it's if there's a family business or whatever, or even if it's not, that younger generation saying, "Hey, this is going to make our life way easier. Let's figure this out and how to use it." And it is, we're working with construction companies, landscape companies all day long, where there are guys that are using a flip phone, or guys that don't have a smartphone or aren't used to technology, but it is our goal and objective when building this was, how do we make it so simple that even those guys, they can either, there's number one, there's a way for those guys to clock in even if they don't have a smartphone, but also making it really simple for those guys who aren't used to tech, that it's a click of a button.
Mhm. That's awesome. Now, we mentioned something about using something like busy to help manage your rates and for like job costing and everything. You
Mhm.
mind talking a little bit about that and how busy can help with that?
Yeah, absolutely. And so the nice thing about busy, like we've talked about, is the automation. So it's one thing because it's easier for all your employees because they track time on their phone, and that's how you pay them. But what's really nice is, since we're tracking all of that time, and if they're tracking that time to a job, we're capturing all of that information and automatically putting it into reports that you can easily access and view. And so that allows a company to view that week how much time was spent on that job, like this month. In fact, there's a landscape company I talked to a couple months ago, and they were using busy for their estimating, for jobs, because they could go back and look at jobs that were similar, or look at jobs that they're doing and say, these type of jobs take us this many man hours. And so job is similar, this job's a little bigger. So if we bid out this much, we'll be profitable on it. And so it made it really easy for them, because he was able to say, yeah, like if I'm not, if I can't get in at this bid, I'm good missing the job, because I'll let somebody else lose money on it, right?
Absolutely. This is honestly the exact conversation I had with somebody earlier today on a coaching call I had, and
Okay.
it's talking about using something to track what it's costing you for the job, and then look at that, and then go forward from here for when you're estimating and looking back at the past jobs you've done and look at your past estimates. And you
Yep.
can't, if you're not job costing, you can't make adjustments for the future. So it's so important to have something, and if you can automate it with busy, well, why not?
Yeah, absolutely. And I can even, if it's helpful, I can even share my screen
Yeah.
here and show what that looks like. Can you see my screen okay?
Yep.
Awesome. So let me pull up to, so here's our activity reports. This is where I come in and I can view all of the reporting. So right now I've got it set for the pay period, but I can break this down by month if I want. So I can look and see, here's all my jobs I've worked on for the month, and here's all of the total time that's been put on each job. And this is so total labor hours as well as total wage cost allocated to this job. Um, and so it's really nice in that I can come in here and I can view any of these projects. I can click into a project and I can view, okay, who's worked on this project this month. And I can also come in here and I can break it down And it just depends on how companies want to use busy and how granular they want to be, because this is enough already to say, here's how much, if we have a job similar to this job, this 130 or 1325 East 25th Fifth Street job, we know that this is about what it takes. We're a $200 hour in a month job, and this
Mhm.
is also really nice because I have a company I work with who is a smaller excavation company, and he'll use this just to bill his clients. So he has a couple of clients. He does some work for him every month, and he'll just export this into a CSV file. He'll attach a rate to that hour, and shoot it on over to him, and just bill him right from busy. So you can use it either for the ability to estimate and come in here and break it down. See, okay, how many hours did each employee spend? How many hours did we take on each cost code if I am breaking down exactly what we did? As well as even breaking it down by equipment. So what equipment did we need on the job? How many hours were spent on each piece of equipment? So I know how many hours or how many hours I should estimate for that piece of equipment for that next job. And same thing if I'm trying to bill from this, is I can come in here and bill those machine hours and make sure I'm capturing all of those as well.
That's very cool. I see, it has, like, regular costs, so could you put a cost code to each employee as well, and then that can help calculate up everything?
And so I guess what do you mean by that? Oh, so
Um,
like in here to be able to see like which employees worked on each cost code.
yeah.
So I can click into each individual cost code. And I can view. So the nice
Okay,
thing is it just keeps breaking it down. So
nice.
I can come in here and I can view on this specific cost code which employees worked on the cost code, what the date was, their start stop time, any equipment that was used, description left. And it is nice too is if they're using GPS, I can even come in here and I can view where they're at. This is our demo account, so it looks like Kyle was in San Diego doing a trade show, clocking into a job over here in Illinois.
That's very cool.
Yeah,
Well, and the nice thing is, like you said, you can use this and look at the past jobs and then decide if it's this job is pretty close and this is what I need to figure for hours. Because honestly, that's we're basically kind of renting out our team. We're renting out our
yeah.
equipment to do the job. So if you have an idea of how much you need to charge, what how long it's going to take, you multiply by the what you need to charge per hour. You can come up with your estimate very quick and easy.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially with, I mean, employees or wages continue to go up where it is. It's something that companies that are just continuing to charge that same rate that they've been charging. It's going to get continually to get more difficult just because everything is changing right now. Where yeah, being able to manage those man hours per job and be able to tie what you need to be charging to be profitable is going to be really critical.
Well, the nice thing too is like when you had one of the forms up there earlier showed you how many hours are on that job.
Yep.
One thing I've come across in the past where companies have had competitions between crews, like they're able to get job done, their whole day done in so many hours. The other days, other crews getting done some X amount of hours, and they actually would have competition, and you can reward about based upon if they're completing the job in the time that they're supposed to. And having a software like this, it kind of automates it. It makes it that much easier.
Yep, and we have companies that do that all the time, whether it's competition between crews, or yeah, like however fast you guys can get this, if you guys can get this job done inside of this time allotment, there's a bonus or something
Yeah.
at the end, where it makes it really easy to track the time of that crew or
Mhm.
the time to that job to see where it's going to end.
Yeah, that kind of ties back into the, building company culture. Because if you can reward your team members for doing a great job based off of this, why not? That's going to help keep people. It's going to draw new employees into your business because they can hear that, oh, I get rewarded for doing good work.
Exactly, and it's when talking about company culture, I know Isaac, our CEO, this is something he talks about a lot is, finding companies or employees that have the same goals as the employer does. And generally
Mhm.
that's, revenue generating. How do you find employees that care about generating more revenue for the the company. And what's also nice with a software like busybusy is it's really easy for companies to cut out non-revenue generating time,
Mhm.
because they can come in here, they can view. I mean, we had a company that they just started doing that, so they had their employees track the two cost codes were non-revenue generating time and revenue generating time, just to see, how much time are we spending at the shop, or how much time we're spending not making money. And they were able to cut that non-revenue generating time by 50% just by tracking it.
It's funny you say that. It's like honestly one of the biggest things that we learned years ago. It actually cost our business $159,000 one year and unbillable time just because it took so long to get out of the shop and just them guys just kind of messing around that we found out because we weren't watching it. We didn't have a good eye on it like we're
Yeah.
using something like this. So that would have saved our butts big time.
And it is like, the company that we talked to, it was a similar situation. They calculated that the time, not only the time lost, but the time that could have been gained by doing revenue generating activities. Yeah, it was a couple $100,000 in lost revenue.
Yeah, absolutely. And it like when you start, having we had 20 some employees at the time, it's hard
Mhm.
to keep track of all that stuff just by pen and paper, just looking out there. Having something like this that tracks it is huge. It's huge.
Yeah, yeah, it makes it way easier, and it is. It's interesting because some companies, they choose not to do it, and there was a company I talked to that they were doing exactly what this report does, right? It was an admin doing it manually. So everyone would text in their time to her, and then she would manually input all of the time each crew spent on each job into an Excel sheet. And
Yeah.
so as we were talking to her, it was like, okay, yeah, like this, she was ecstatic because it made so much sense, and that it automated a process that took her hours a day to do.
I can relate to that. I wish I would have had this years ago. But no, and I guess going back to the company culture, everything kind of ties back to it. But getting your team on board to using something like this, yes, it can be difficult, but it's one of those things. And if you listen to, it's coming up in, I believe it's 2 weeks. I talked
Yep.
to Isaac, the CEO of busybusy, about this. And it's just kind of developing a system to get your team on board to using this type of program, whether it's this or something, any new technology. And nobody likes change. So it's just
Yep.
kind of developing a process, a step-by-step process of encouraging your team to use something like this goes a long way. And once it's in place, it's a dramatic difference, but not just for yourself, but for the team as well that's using it. And that's Isaac had a great explanation. So you guys have to check out the podcast for that. But he has a great explanation how to get your team to use something like this in your business. And actually, one thing I learned too from Isaac was that you guys have a really nice onboarding feature to get people set up for this to help teach companies how to use this and encourage team members to use it.
We do, yeah. So we have a really hands-on onboarding team where if a company decides to go with busybusy, we'll schedule them with an onboarding specialist who will help them create their account. They'll help them even do a training with employees. They'll help them make sure that first payroll runs smoothly. And so we hold the company's hand through the process to ensure their success. And it depends on what the company is using. But if a company is using a paper time card right now, uh, generally the transition process is a couple weeks to get everyone used to it. So even with a company that's not using a software right now to track time, it's a pretty simple process to transition over.
Yeah, and that's awesome that your company does that. I was very impressed when he started telling me all that. I was like, "Wow, that's great." Because I've tried some stuff before, and they're like, "Here it is. Good luck. Bye. Thank you for purchasing."
Sure. Yeah, and it is like and talking about company culture, it is like it busy. We don't do any contracts. We do a 90-day 100% money back guarantee, and then we tie it in with that onboarding where it is like we want to ensure and bet on ourselves that it's going to be a good fit for you, and if not, no worries, like we'll part ways and let you do your thing. But yeah, it is. We want to make sure that it's going to work for you and be something that makes sense and not tie you into some contract or something that you can never get out of.
That's very cool. Very cool. Well, anything else you wanted to add today, Ryan?
I think we got it pretty well covered. love being a partner of the $1 Million Landscaper group. And yeah, like you mentioned, go check out the podcast of Isaac and you chatting here, dropping in a couple of weeks. And don't forget, if any of you guys decide to download the app, make sure you mention the $1 Million Landscaper for your 3 months free when you buy for the year.
Yeah, it's an amazing deal, guys. You got to check it out. You really have nothing to lose, everything to gain by using an app like this, and give it a shot. And like I said, it goes beyond just you knowing your numbers more. It goes on to developing that company culture, and and holding your team accountable. There's so many different things this software does. It's kind of amazing when you really start looking at it, diving deep into it. But thanks, Ryan. I appreciate you being on the show today. We have scheduled another meeting that we'll be talking some more. We'll actually be talking about equipment costing next time. So you guys want to check that out, definitely. Thanks, Ryan. Thanks for being on the
Yeah.
show.
Hey, thank you.
Yeah, and
See
then
ya.
make sure you guys check out. It'll be coming out in 2 weeks. An awesome podcast with Isaac, of the CEO of Busy Busy, and then we're gonna have him on again. So we got a lot of amazing stuff coming out with these guys. It's an amazing piece of software. So go check it out, guys.
Yeah,
Thanks,
thanks,
Ryan.
Scott.
Have a good one.
See ya.